Have you ever been feeling stuck? Or maybe experiencing that feeling of stuckness? And despite all your efforts and your hard work of making your best to create a new outcome and new results, and yet nothing happens. Well, I feel you. Because I've been there before several times, just like anybody else, and you're not alone. Until the moment I understood what was causing the effect of it at the first place. And why was I feeling stuck at the first place? Well, I have a great news for you. Congratulations. Because if you're feeling stuck, it's actually a sign that what you're desiring, that intention of that new change, that new outcome, that new result, that new version of yourself, whatever it might be, is actually taking place. And I'm going to tell you later on in more explicit way of what's the reason behind that stuckness. But before I go and in more details about that, I would like to mention this. Have you ever heard about your shadows? Yes. In another way, in the transformational world, we call them archetypes. And those shadows are actually that side of you where you are not acknowledging, you are not accepting, you are rejecting, or perhaps is actually what's englobing most of your programming in your subconscious mind. And it can be found on your way of behaving, your way of reacting, your way of responding, your way of taking action, and even your way on how you are actually creating the results of your reality in your life. And it took me time to understand that as well, because I was a victim with those shadows of mine years ago. And I couldn't understand why I keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over again in my life, until I had to discover what was behind it, the reason behind it, the creation behind it. And here is what I'm going to share with you. Your shadows are nothing else but that expansion of you. And to start, I'm going to start mentioning the biggest shadows that most of us on our programming is playing a huge role, which is our inner child. But also, we often experience also the victim shadows. And we have also the self-saboteur, the one that some of us we experience as well, and especially when we're creating something new in our life we have never done before, that also activates our ego sometimes. And we have, I don't know if I can say this because even the word itself sometimes people don't like it, but it's nothing to do with the word itself. It's only an association of describing it that we call prostitute archetype or prostitute shadow. And that can be often found in terms of not feeling comfortable around money, giving more than we're supposed to give, not valuing ourselves and feeling unworthy, and etc., and always trying to get validation from the outside of ourselves instead of getting it from within ourselves. So to go back to the inner shadow, to the inner child, that inner child basically holds all the experiences we have been experienced from 1 to the actual age that we are right now. And it plays a huge role in terms of what do we have created as part of the experiences we've been experiencing. And it can also be the cause of effect of every result we are actually getting to unfold in our life as our reality. And as much as it's present, as much as it's there, we don't acknowledge it enough. We don't recognize it enough. And sometimes you can do things that people don't like about you. You can do things that even yourself you're not appreciating and not loving about yourself, and you're rejecting that part of you. Yes, that's right. And you're gonna keep on hating even the way you're gonna talk, the way you're gonna do things, and etc. Yeah, pay attention. And of course, the victim shadow, it's where most people desire to blame events, to blame circumstances, to blame other people, instead of actually really taking responsibilities of their actions, of their way of behaving, of their behaviors, attitude, and even of their way of just showing in life and being in general. And the other saboteur is the one that comes and criticizes the inner judgment we have about ourselves, the inner criticism we have about ourselves. But it's also what's creating also that stuckness at the first place, because it creates blocks of feeling limitless. It's creating blocks of going and exponentially experience our own capacity of self-doing, of self-being, of even self-receiving. And I know that when we talk about these things, you're going to say, oh my God, I feel related in some of them. It's true, because we experience them all in different events, in different ways, but doesn't mean that because they exist, they cannot be acknowledged, they cannot be recognized, they cannot be worked on. And as a matter of fact, your shadows are there to help you expand. When you're ready for growth, when you're ready to changes, when you're ready to step into your own comfort zone, the self-saboteur is going to be more active, and also perhaps your inner child as well, in terms of base experiences that will be the perfect contrast of what you desire to realize and manifest. And sometimes we embody the energy of victimization, of always feeling like it's because of the events we can do certain things, because of that's why we're stuck, before of this, because of this person, because of what you don't have, or because etc, 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 etc. We always give reasons of justification and explanation of why we are not where we desire to be. That's the victim shadow. And the prostitute archetype, or if I'm sorry, but it's not what you think it is. It's when you don't feel worth it, when you give yourself more than you are supposed to give, when you're always pleasing people around, when you're always trying to do things so that you can be seen, so that you can be appreciated, yet you're not receiving anything back of whatever it is that you're doing for other people, for etc, etc, etc. And always searching an external validation. Yes, that's right. So now this is an experience that is actually calling you to understand that stuckness you are feeling quite right now, or maybe you have been feeling, is associated with your own shadows. And your shadows are only there to remind you of what needs to be resolved, or what needs to be attained to. Either an emotional feeling where we associated some certain feelings, some certain vibrations into it, and we need to change that. So whenever you are choosing to create something new in your life, whenever you're stepping into a new energy, whenever you're transitioning and shifting, they will always be activated. Either one of them, either all of them, either few of them, etc. Depending on your experience, depending on your level, depending on what you are actually calling in and desiring and setting as an intention in order for you to actually create for yourself. So when that happened, I just want you to go back in and to truly get to reflect in what's appearing for you. And I promise you, you're gonna be amazed, you're gonna be mesmerized about what's gonna come up. So if you feel any of those feelings and you realize that you are into those aspects of those shadows that I explain in the way that they can actually be appearing as, then take time to acknowledge them, to appreciate them, to love them, and share compassion for yourself and for those shadows that are there only to help you expand and grow to your exponential self that you have no idea yet exists within you or can be created within that desire, that intention, or that experience of you experiencing that stuckness at the first place. And how can you turn your shadows and transform them into something powerful that will allow you to expand and grow in the highest speed of even collapsing time in reality? So now you have an idea of the reason why you're feeling stuck and what is causing the effect of that stuckness in the first place. And if this is you today, feeling stuck, no idea of what to do next, and really being tired and fed up of trying and no idea of what needs to be done, then I'm inviting you. And I'll be more delighted and glad to help you and guide you, helping to unfold that stuckness and turning into something incredible, and finally creating the outcome results that change that desire, that intention, or whatever it is that is actually taking place for you right now within that stuckness itself. Or if you wish to hear more about what I've been planning to do, that is going to be amazing. Oh yeah, just the idea of me thinking about it, I'm just super pumped up and excited. And I cannot wait to open up to your greatest, highest level of new version of yourself, or that new changes, or that manifestation of whatever it is that you are actually desiring deep inside of you to create for yourself. And you'll be the first one to hear about it and the first one to be notified and even claim your spot before it gets overbooked. And remember, you are meant for more and you are a greatness. Keep getting into that exponential self of yourself. I love you.